Oh, hey, hi. How you doing out there? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome on into the Hat Creek Interior Studios. We got a big show for you on a Wednesday night. Lady Raider basketball in progress right now. Early second quarter period. What do we call it? 30-18 Iowa State. Not going good for the home team. We'll discuss it more as the evening goes along. We got Big 12 basketball we can talk about. Can anybody beat Arizona? Even the refs couldn't quite get it done last night for BYU. And then the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame snubbing. It's not so much about Belichick, who should be in there. And I don't even really like him. I'm not a huge fan. But if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer as a coach, why are we doing this? It's about the voters. It's about the denizens of dumb, the guardians of stupidity that run these halls of fame, baseball, football, otherwise, and they're stupid. We're going to talk about that tonight. What if Wednesday? What if Tubby Smith stayed at Texas Tech in 2016? What if he didn't leave? What if he didn't go to Memphis? There's no Chris Beard right off the bat. What happens? Where would Tech basketball be today? It's a what if Wednesday. We love alt history. History turns on a dime. It changes on whims and decisions and everything else. Where do you think Tech basketball would be today if Tubby Smith, Hall of Famer, who'd got Tech back into the NCAA tournament, the grown up in the room, a guy I really like, by the way, loved being around him, loved hanging around Tubby Smith. And then Super Bowl hype, the first Super Bowl you can actually remember watching. We're required by the FCC to engage in Super Bowl hype freely and openly every night between now and the actual Super Bowl. If we don't, we can't be on the air. They will shut us down. What was the first Super Bowl you remember watching? All that and more tonight. Let's get the conversation started. Let's have a lot of fun tonight. I want to hear from you, Belichick lovers and haters alike, Tech basketball fans, Super Bowl hypers, you name it. In three, in two. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. We are coming to you from the Hat Creek Interior Studios. As you know, they create custom elegance, Western style furniture and apparel, not apparel, well, I guess apparel, accessories is probably the better word. They've got the great showroom here in Lubbock, 10101 South Slide Road, hatcreek.us. They ship anywhere. You know what to do. You know your house needs some Western style furniture. They're not the best between Dallas and Denver. They're the best from the East Coast to the West Coast. Also brought to you tonight by South Plains College. The road to Raiderland runs through Level End, South Plains College. Fine, wonderful, great institution here on the South Plains in West Texas. Find out what they can do. Continuing education, new college students, you name it, SPC there for you. Red River Brewing Company in Red River, New Mexico, right next to our friends at Lifts West Hotel and Condominium. I mean, steps away from the ski slopes there at Red River. Just mere like 30 seconds away from the river. Spring or summer, winter or fall. Red River Brewing Company, great local brewed ales. And now they got the distillery. It's really cool. Everybody gets in tonight on the United Supermarkets chat line, the one supermarket that supports Texas Tech as opposed to the one here in town that doesn't put their name on stuff here, like United Supermarkets Arena. They take your money and send it down south. All right, you get the idea. That's what we're doing here tonight in the Hat Creek Interior Studios. Lady Raider basketball, real-time thoughts. Obviously, not watching it. I'm spending time with you right now, but the first period, it was a whole lot of their really good post player getting it done. Crooks, 16.79, pounding away on the inside, worried about that going in. For Texas Tech, 8 of 18 shooting right now, 33%. Or pardon me, 44%. 67% for Iowa State, 14 and 21. Tech, 3 of 9 long. They're trying to make up for it with threes. They're not falling. We'll discuss that as the game goes on, and we'll look at that. So where do you want to start tonight? I'll let you guys go. We'll go off tonight on the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame voting. That he couldn't get 40 out of 50 votes. And one thing, that's far too few voters with far too big egos controlling the Professional Football Hall of Fame. Baseball, on the other hand, has far too many idiots voting for it. But if Bill Belichick can't be in first ballot, were there other great coaches who didn't get in first ballot? Yeah, there were. Lombardi, the very name itself, echoes through the halls of, Joe Gibbs, 3 Super Bowls. Win it with quarterbacks that pretty much weren't good. Whatever. First ballot, Shula, Noel, Landry. But I guess they were nicer to the media. Well, it doesn't really matter on that. All right, so let's get you going. And then I really do want to have some fun with this one tonight. Super Bowl hype. What's the first Super Bowl you remember growing up? Or if you're really old, you remember them all. We always get that. We would get that on the call-in show. We get that through the 90s and everything. I was there for Super Bowl I. It wasn't called Super Bowl I. It was AFL, NFL World Championship game. All right, let's get it going. Chris on Facebook. By the way, Facebook, Rhinites Raiderland free. YouTube, Rhinites Raiderland free channel. Subscribe to them all. Our YouTube channel, please hit like, hit subscribe, invite people in, do all those things. I respect Tubby, and he certainly raised the floor of the basketball program. I'm not sure if Tech would have gotten all the way to the national championship game with him. This basketball program would be a consistent tournament team with Tubby. Now, it's What If Wednesday. What if Tubby Smith doesn't leave in April of 16? Abruptly pissing off Kirby Hocutt in Texas Tech, going to Memphis. I mean, an FU statement, if I've ever seen one, out of Texas Tech when he left. And it pissed him off because they brought him in. He was the adult in the room in 2013, after the debacle of Pat Knight and everything else that had gone on post Bob Knight, and even Bob Knight. He'd gotten you back to the NCAA tournament. But if he stays in 2016, how much longer does he stay? Where does it go? What happens? That's why it's what if. What if Memphis is not open? He doesn't go. You tell me. Don, I grew up in the Houston area in the Love You Blue era as a kiddo. We'd be stopped by the Steelers, and I hated them for kicking them out of the Super Bowl. But that's when I really got in the NFL and introduced me to the bowl. So I'm going to say, 77, 78, right in through there? Super Bowl 13, Cowboys, Steelers, as opposed to Oilers, Cowboys. First Super Bowl, says Chris, growing up, Giants and Bills. Wide right. Man, that's your first Super Bowl to remember? That's like one of the first Super Bowl parties we'll know. Not the first Super Bowl party, but one of the first Super Bowl parties I was like, I probably need a ride home. Thank you to my girlfriend at the time. In fact, we watched that at a Texas Tech high jumper's apartment here in Lubbock. Pretty good high jumper. Jeff, he's on our YouTube channel, Rhinites Raiderland. Belichick, a Hall of Famer, but if the good Lord wants to use the votes to give him a big karma sandwich, who am I to question their ways? It's not their job. That's the problem, Jeff. It's not their job. Their job is not to call balls and strikes. It's not. The NFL called balls and strikes on the era of Bill Belichick in real time, hammered the Patriots, took away, they punished him. That's not the job of the voters. You're not the guardian of the game. You don't get to call balls and strikes. You get to say, was this guy a really good coach or not? Should he be in the Hall of Fame, yes or no? Do we put a plaque up in there saying, and while he was coaching the Patriots, they got hammered for Deflategate and, stealing signs? But that's not the job of the voters. Now, they have made it their job over decades now, the so-called guardians of the game in baseball, going back to Pete Rose and even before, to Barry Bonds in the steroid era. And I completely repudiate their idea. I was in the Baseball Writers Association of America for, I think, 2 years. And I let it lapse. college baseball writer or college something. I was in college something for a couple of years in the 90s. And I realized real quick, I'm a freaking hypocrite. But that's a different deal for a different time. We're talking about right now the Hall of Fame voters that I think just embarrass themselves by inserting their pettiness, their hypocrisy, in thinking that they are the ones who guard the game. They're not. Gill Alexander on VSiN, a numbers game. Usually Kelly Bidlin, but Mr. Higgins from Magnum PI, producing and working in there today and this week doing a great job. But Gill Alexander has done a great job just dressing down Hall of Fame voters for the last couple of years, almost a yearly basis when it comes to baseball, and Barry Bonds. Now, I go back even before Bonds to Pete Rose in the idea, and again, the Baseball Hall of Fame, different from Football Hall of Fame, but the Baseball Hall of Fame could have put Pete Rose in at any time. That he was banned from baseball didn't mean he was banned from them putting him in the Hall of Fame. But this idea that they were going to be the guardians of the game was reprehensible and stupid then in the 90s, and it still is today. I don't know, many people and many of my friends, and even Don Williams, who I did a call-in show with for nearly 20 years, disagreed vehemently with me on Pete Rose. And I will freely admit that I was a fan of Pete Rose. He hated Pete Rose growing up. He thought Pete Rose was a selfish baseball player, doing all those headfirst slides, and I don't know why he thought he was selfish, but whatever. Anyhow, Gill Alexander has done a great job chronicling this, and I would advise you to go to vsin.com, go to a numbers game, listen to the first hour today, and he'll say it better than I can. But it goes even before Barry Bonds, that we talk about the role of the voters should be to put people in a Hall of Fame, not a Hall of Shame, not a Hall of Great, not a Hall of Awesome people, not a Hall of Dixie Walker versus Jackie Robinson, but to merely say these were great players, great coaches, whatever, and this was their greatness and their flaws. And you can judge for yourself. Put a plaque there that says everything about Bill Belichick. But what it really comes down to on Belichick right now is the pettiness of the reporters, the media people in football, 50 voters. Bill Polian, former GM, he couldn't even recall today to ESPN or The Athletic whether he couldn't remember. He's so daft and dumb, he couldn't remember whether he actually voted for Belichick or not. And he thought he voted for a player, maybe. That's all you need to know about this stuff. I've been around the media since the late 80s. Young, old, in between, and everything else. And I learned real quick that a lot of people in the media, and those are the ones who end up getting these votes, they're petty, they have agendas, they get mad, and the pro football one is the easiest one to get mad. There should be 10 different Dallas Cowboys from the 70s and into the 80s that should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. But because they were Dallas and not New York or Philadelphia, they didn't get in. Going back to baseball, the steroid era, all of them should be in. Put them, Barry Bonds should be in. Now, you're not wholly against a lot of the pitchers who were juicing as well, but we can't talk about that. We don't get to talk about that. But McGuire and Bonds, they should be in. But no, we're gonna punish them. We're gonna show them. We're gonna do this. That's not your freaking job. I had a great professor at Texas Tech in journalism. Yes, I went to school. I graduated with a worthless degree in broadcast journalism. Actually, no, it wasn't even broadcast journalism. It was in telecommunications. My actual degree was in telecommunications. You know what I could do? Hook up a TV, VCR, and a telephone. A hell of a degree. Anyhow, I had a professor. And he had a great line one time. He was talking specifically about sports in writing and said, your job ain't to call balls and strikes. It's to chronicle the people who call the balls and strikes. Okay, that's what the Hall of Fame voters should be doing. Not calling balls and strikes. Chronicling the people who called the balls and strikes, who are involved in it, and say, famous, not famous. Great, not great. Bill Belichick should 100% be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Fame coach. Oh, but he won a whole bunch of games when he had a really good quarterback in Tom Brady, and when he didn't win a lot of games. Well, no shit. Same thing with Tom Landry. You know, Vince Lombardi won a bunch of games with a guy named Bart Starr. Hate it. Where are we in the Lady Raider game right now, by the way? The Lady Raiders crawling back, outscoring Iowa State 13-12 in the second period. 2:54 to go, 38-31. Lady Raiders making their way back. This was such a great rivalry back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Love to see it coming back. Let's get you going on the United Supermarkets chat line. All right. Belichick, Hall of Fame snub. I gave you my thoughts. Super Bowl, the first one you remembered, and the what if Wednesday, what if Tubby Smith stayed in 2016? What happens or doesn't happen with Texas Tech basketball? How much longer does he go? I would submit that he probably goes about another 2 or 3 years, and then I'll let you guys ruminate and marinate on this. Who replaced him at Memphis? Would we have been looking at a very similar situation to Bob Knight, Pat Knight, with Tubby Smith and his son? You tell me. All right. JC, double T. The last Super Bowl I don't remember. Is that the question? No. Redskins with a bunch of my MBA friends at Depot. Heard Smith did okay. 1987, Timmy Smith. All-time rushing record Super Bowl. At one point in the late 80s, Texas Tech running backs, and Timmy Smith had the Super Bowl rushing record, and James Gray had the college football bowl rushing record for 286 yards against Duke in the 1989 All-American Bowl. Chris on our Facebook page, Ryan I, it's Raiderland. By the way, Power of Five. 5 people every night. Support our sponsors. Go to Hat Creek Interiors. Tell them thanks for supporting what we do here. South Plains College, Red River Brewing Company in Red River, New Mexico, and United Supermarkets. 5 people go there and say, hey, thanks for supporting Raiderland. That's huge. Don't cost nothing. Easy to do. Tag me. Let me know you did it. It also seemed like Tubby was wanting his son to succeed him at his last stop at High Point. I wouldn't want any part of that at Tech, and it seems like Kirby wouldn't go for that. Yeah. JC, I really can't believe this is about deflating balls for Bill. I think that is the publicist's take to hide the truth. Is it fair to spare coach on his best day? You've discussed the man behind Bill. The man behind Bill. The man behind Bill. I mean, Deflategate, stealing signs, whatever. What do you want to punish him for? That's not the job of the electors, or it shouldn't be, the voters in the Hall of Fame, to punish. The NFL punished. They did it. All right? They did. Maybe Chris Walker would still be coaching instead of Big East Hoops. Not just Big East. He does a lot of stuff for CBS. I need to get him on. He's a good dude. Get him on the show sometime. Jeff, the KKG interview last night was great. She's perfect for Tech. Thanks again for that. Talking about Krista Gerlich on the show last night. We're going to have her on a few more times, working on some scheduling stuff. Yeah, we kind of go back a few years, me and Coach Gerlich. We've done an interview a time or two. 38-35, Tech now 17-12 in the second period over Iowa State, coming back on them. 11 points for Mop and 7 for Love and 8 for Fritz. So they're coming back. Tech now 48% from the field, 54% for Iowa State. In real time, Texas Tech, if they're even, they're leaving going into the second half on them. Get you guys on the United Supermarkets chat line. First Super Bowl you remember, that Super Bowl hype. Hall of Fames, we expend a lot of breath about them. Do they even matter anymore? I think to my son and his kids and generations after me, I think the whole idea of the Hall of Fame is dead and gone. I don't think people care. Not the way we care, not the way I cared growing up about it. Hall of Fames were cool. It mattered. But the thing that bothers me, though, is these idiots in the media, because I'm in the media, and I know these people. I'm telling you, I know these people. Over 30 years of working in the media, I know who they are. They're the ones who couldn't play. They're the ones who sucked. And they get a vote. They get an agenda. Jeez. All right. Chris on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media. First Super Bowl, Cowboys 77. Cowboys Broncos, Super Bowl 12. Right in my wheelhouse, Chris. I go back a couple of years. So the first one I remember really, like, my own memories would be Super Bowl 10, Cowboys Steelers, bicentennial year. I remember us watching it, invest in the, but I'm a kid. I'm pretty young. The next year with the Vikings and the Raiders, remember everything about that. The pregame leading up. That's the first time I remember, by the way, going into that game, that day, and I don't know what network it was on, but they were playing the NFL Films Super Bowl highlights, those shows, leading up to the game. I remember that. That was cool. And then everything about Super Bowl 12. I even wrote a great, not a book report, but like a report there in elementary school on that game. They're in Canyon Elementary School. Rex Reeves. And it was called The Day the Clock Struck 12. The Dallas Cowboys taking down the Denver Broncos. By the way, that was a crappy game. Not a well-played game. Jeff, first Super Bowl I remember is 10. Still hate the Steelers. Always hate the Steelers if you're a Cowboy fan. It's your birthright. Although I kind of have respected them. And then they hired Mike McCarthy, and I'm like, y'all really don't want to win anymore, do you? What's going on with that? Getting on the United Supermarkets chat line tonight. Lady Raiders, we're getting close. Are we at the half? Looks like we're at the half. 40-38. Lady Raiders outscore them 20-14 in the second period. Love and Moppin each with a double digits, 11 and 10, Moppin and Love. And Crooks, they're a great inside player. 8 of 11, 20 points. 30 for Williams. That's where they get their points. Nobody else scores. Yeah, scored 2. So it's going to be like on 7-on-2. Snudda Collins with 7 points in the first half as well. I don't even like Bill Belichick, all right? But is he one of the greatest coaches in NFL history? By any metric? Yeah. It's not your job to call balls and strikes and punish Hall of Fame voters. It's not. Jeff, the Super Bowl needs to bring back Up With People for the halftime show. That and Florence Henderson. Up With People. True story. Girl I kind of quasi-dated in high school. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Every one of y'all had one of those relationships where you were kind of dating, but you weren't dating and you were not sure if you were dating. But anyways, she was a very talented, great singer, great person. She actually, I'm trying to keep myself from saying actually, and I did it. But she ended up touring with Up With People after we graduated high school and she went to college, went to Baylor. I'm probably giving away secrets here. Somebody's going to figure out who I'm talking about. But she did. She toured with Up With People. So I got that going for me. Andrew. Good to see Andrew jumping on Facebook. Dallas 27-10 over the Broncos. Dallas wins Super Bowl 12. Harvey Martin, Randy White, co-MVPs in the game. Denver just pummeled Dallas, killed them. 7 sacks, something like that, Super Bowl record for Doomsday, too, in that game. JC Hyatt misunderstood the question. First Super Bowl memory, I remember Jackie Smith, Super Bowl 13, Steelers as vividly as Lord allows in later games. Hit and miss on memories except Dallas. Vern Lundquist, Jackie Smith must be the sickest man in America. one of the few times you ever saw Roger Staubach curse is after Smith, who'd had a Hall of Fame career with the St. Louis Cardinals, came in as a free agent, one of the few free agents for the Dallas Cowboys. John Dutton, Preston Pearson for the Steelers. Not very many free agents in the 70s. Wide open, back of the end zone. Staubach drills him. He drops it off his chest. Oh. Painful. And the great Vern Lundquist call on Dallas Cowboys radio. Jackie Smith must be the sickest man in America. Other than Darren Talbert, Jackie Smith, only man to make Roger Staubach curse on an NFL field. Jeff skipped Sunday night church to watch Super Bowl 12 and got called out by the preacher from the pulpit the next week. I would have changed churches. That's awful. That's awful. Yeah, he'd been with St. Louis for like 10 years. He'd been in the NFL forever. I mean, that was like his last stop, last gasp. Comes to the Cowboys, trying to help. And I'm trying to remember when he signed, you had Billy Joe Dupree, but I can't remember if Dupree maybe was nursing an injury or something. They're kind of worried about that. So they brought Smith in as a backup. Coaching metric is wins and losses, championships, and tree legacy. So, yeah. But guardians of the game. I was thinking about the whole just stupidity of the NFL Hall of Fame voters, and we're going to punish him. And like Bill Polian doesn't even know if he voted for him. And that's how stupid these people are. But it reminded me of the scene in the movie The Natural. All right. So Robert Duvall plays the newspaper writer Max Mercy. Great character, great movie all the way around. And Mercy has one of those scenes where, he's telling Roy Hobbs, that, hey, I'm in charge of this. I control you, your legacy, everything about you, everything. I'm the guardian of the game, basically. And that's who these think they are. They think they're Max Mercy from The Natural. And of course, Roy Hobbs in the championship game, the all-decisive game, skies a foul ball up there and shatters the press box window all over Max Mercy. Beautiful. But that's who these people think they are. And that's why they don't chronicle balls and strikes. They think they're calling them. You put them in. You put Pete Rose in. You put Barry Bonds in. Barry Bonds, great player before he ever took steroids. Mark McGwire, you put him in. Roger Clemens, you put him in. Rafael Palmeiro. Hey, Steve, Rafael Palmeiro spelled backwards is Ekaila. And you put a plaque out there that says, in this era, just like the dead ball era of baseball, just like any era you want to say, just like, hey, these guys are really great when we didn't let black people play baseball, but we still put them in the Hall of Fame. And you let people figure it out. Andrew, do you get a vote? No, 50 people vote on the Professional Football Hall of Fame. They're basically sports writers. They're old, they're East Coast, and they've been around far too long, and they're stupid. And you throw in a couple of NFL execs and everything else. So here's the problem. The NFL has far too few voters, and they're dumb. The Major League or Professional Baseball Hall of Fame has too many freaking voters. They're kind of like the Heisman Trophy, minus David Collier. And they got too many voters. And they're dumb. Do I get a vote? Listen, if I had a vote, of course he's in. And I don't like Bill Belichick, but freaking gosh, yeah, he's in. But Vince Lombardi, not first ballot. Joe Gibbs, Redskins, not first ballot. Okay, whatever. His only attribute was getting coaches around him As a coach, he was below average with Saban, but masters at surrounding coaches. I don't know who you're talking about. Who are we talking about? If you did, whom you have voted for? Yeah, would have voted for him. Who presented Bill? I don't know what that means. Speak English. You guys are horrible at. I thought I had done a good texter clinic, caller clinic, commenter clinic earlier. A couple of weeks ago. I guess I'm going to have to do this like every 3 weeks. Teach you guys how to text. Be very specific. Address everything. Readdress the question. Say regarding the question, regarding this, and do that. His only attribute was getting coaches around him. Hey, who? What are we talking about? Jerry Jones, first ballot. I don't know if it was like first ballot. Owners are different. You don't have to wait, So I don't know if we go back and look at Jerry Jones and say, all right, he was eligible at a certain point. I think owners are like, you can put them in. All right. I don't think so. If it was, he should be in the NFL Football Hall of Fame. Why? He's famous. It says it right in the name. He's famous. He made the NFL a crap ton of money. He helped create the salary cap, which has kept the NFL rolling and crushing the players' union for 30-something years now. Stability growth made him a bunch of money. Absolutely. Jerry Jones as an owner, there's no better owner in the NFL in the last 30 years than Jerry Jones. Now, he sucks if you want to actually win championships. But if you're talking about an owner, talking about making money, Jerry Jones. All right. A few more thoughts before we get out of here. Hall of Fames aren't going to matter in 10, 15 years. Nobody's going to care about them whatsoever. I've already seen this. We don't talk a lot of NASCAR on this broadcast. I would love to, but I know you guys aren't really that into it the way I am and have been over the years and decades. That's cool. The NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, nobody goes there anymore. Not even in Charlotte. It was a boondoggle. It's been a financial boondoggle. College Baseball Hall of Fame. Couldn't even get it in Lubbock. Can't even really do it in Omaha because a brick and mortar Hall of Fame doesn't matter anymore. Attendance has dwindled at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, and you go to Cooperstown, same thing, that the brick and mortar Hall of Fames don't matter anymore. To the younger generations, you've got to be at least 35, 40 years old to even really care and have a passionate opinion, I think, about Hall of Fames anymore. But that's why we're here. That's what we do. So none of this is really going to matter going forward. That's maybe the biggest thing that's coming out of this is nobody really cares. You're a Hall of Famer, you want? I mean, it's like going to the Pro Bowl now. No one cares. Most people don't know the difference in the NFL between All Pro and Pro Bowl. Doesn't matter. Those things are gone. But after that, the arrogance of the media is the biggest thing to come from this latest deal with Bill Belichick. The arrogance of sports media, by the way, very liberal for the most part, but the arrogance of the sports media, the arrogance of the media, the arrogance of these people that think they can well, no, they can. They can control it. I mean, fans, you probably deserve better, but most people really don't care. All right, last chance. Get your questions, comments in real quick before we get out of here. Hey, I didn't do it nearly as good as Gill Alexander did on VSiN in this game this morning. VSiN.com. Check it out. You can go to the first hour on the podcast, listen to it. Hat tip. And you guys, it's at Beating the Book on Twitter for Gill. Go check it out. Hopefully it's on its deal. But yeah, totally ripping off a lot of his stuff, particularly on Barry Bonds, who should be in 100%. I don't like Barry Bonds. I don't care. The coolest thing about the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony is seeing all the legends come out. Yeah, and again, Jeff, kids today, I don't think they care. They can get online on YouTube. They can get online and they can see the legends, not like us growing up, the ones who actually care. Not that anyone under 30 is paying attention to baseball right now. It's like you turn 40 and it's like, here's your Major League Baseball fan card. Welcome to being 40. Oh, you're 50? Okay, here's your fan card, and you can gripe about replay and the strike. Well, anyways. Have we started the second half yet? We're still in the still at halftime. Iowa State 40, Tech 38. I think Texas Tech's going to win by 7 or 8. We'll see how that turns out. I want to thank Krista Gerlich for being on the show yesterday. If you missed that, it's a really fun interview. Go check it out, theraiderland.com. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this. Again, thank our sponsors, anyone and everyone on our website, theraiderland.com, Twitter X, at Ryan Hyatt Media, on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share. I don't understand why we're not over 700 subscribers right now. That ought to happen tonight. You guys can make that happen. Facebook, same thing. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Y'all are the best. We'll see you tomorrow. It'll be Thursday. Overrated, underrated, rated right Thursday. We'll rate a few things around here. See what else we get into. And don't forget on the Facebook page for Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, coming up tonight, your daily dose of West Texas. I got a cool shot for you. I think you're going to like it. Thanks again for hanging out. We appreciate it. Where the hell is David Collier tonight? Where the hell is David Collier?